When installing a lighting circuit in a lean-to, understanding the National Electrical Code, or NEC, requirements is critical. The primary concern revolves around the wire's exposure to environmental factors. A lean-to, particularly one open on three sides, presents a unique situation where wiring is directly exposed to the elements. The NEC mandates specific wiring methods for such scenarios to ensure safety and prevent electrical hazards. The key question is whether standard indoor wiring is sufficient, or if outdoor rated wire or conduit is necessary. Standard indoor wiring, such as non-metallic sheathed cable, commonly referred to as NM cable or Romex, is not designed for direct exposure to sunlight, moisture, or temperature fluctuations. Prolonged exposure can degrade the insulation, leading to shorts, ground faults, and potentially fires. Therefore, in a lean-to setting open on three sides, using outdoor rated wire is generally required. Outdoor rated wires are specifically designed to withstand harsh environmental conditions. These wires have insulation that is resistant to ultraviolet, or UV, radiation from the sun, moisture, and temperature extremes. Types of outdoor rated wires include, but are not limited to, underground feeder, or UF cable, and individual conductors approved for wet locations installed in conduit. UF cable is a common choice for direct burial applications, but it can also be used for exposed wiring in wet locations. It has a solid plastic jacket that provides excellent protection against moisture and physical damage. Individual conductors, such as THWN or XHHW, are also suitable for wet locations when installed in a conduit. Conduit provides an additional layer of protection for the wiring. It shields the wires from physical damage, moisture, and UV radiation. Common types of conduit include rigid metal conduit, or RMC, intermediate metal conduit, or IMC, electrical metallic tubing, or IMT, and rigid polyvinyl chloride, or PVC conduit. RMC is the heaviest and most durable type of conduit. It is suitable for use in areas where the wiring is subject to severe physical damage. IMC is a lighter weight version of RMC and is also suitable for areas where physical protection is needed. ENT is a thin-walled conduit that is easy to bend and install. It is commonly used for indoor wiring, but it can also be used outdoors in dry locations. PVC conduit is a non-metallic conduit that is resistant to corrosion. It is suitable for use in wet locations and underground applications. The specific type of conduit required will depend on the application and local codes. In some cases, the NEC may require the use of specific types of conduit for certain locations. For example, in areas subject to physical damage, RMC or IMC may be required. When running wire down the rafter under the roof of the lean-to, it is crucial to properly support and secure the wiring. The NEC specifies the maximum spacing between supports for different types of wiring and conduit. Failure to properly support the wiring can lead to sagging, which can put strain on the connections and increase the risk of damage. In addition to the type of wire and conduit, the NEC also addresses the installation of boxes and fittings in wet locations. Electrical boxes and fittings used in wet locations must be weatherproof to prevent moisture from entering and causing corrosion or electrical faults. Weatherproof boxes and fittings have gaskets and seals that create a watertight enclosure. Furthermore, the NEC requires the use of ground fault circuit interrupter, or GFCI, protection for all 120-volt receptacles installed in wet locations. A GFCI is a device that detects small imbalances in the current flowing through a circuit. If an imbalance is detected, the GFCI will quickly trip the circuit, cutting off the power and preventing electrical shock. Lighting circuits in a lean-to are often considered wet locations, so GFCI protection is typically required for any receptacles installed as part of the lighting circuit. GFCI protection can be provided by a GFCI circuit breaker or a GFCI receptacle. The NEC also addresses the proper grounding of electrical equipment. Grounding provides a path for fault current to flow back to the source, which helps to trip the circuit breaker and prevent electrical shock. All metal enclosures, such as electrical boxes and conduit, must be properly grounded. The grounding conductor must be sized according to the NEC tables and properly connected to the grounding electrode system. The grounding electrode system typically consists of a ground rod, a metal water pipe, or a concrete encased electrode. To summarize the NEC requirements for a lighting circuit in a lean-to open on 3 sides: firstly, outdoor rated wire, such as UF cable or individual conductors and conduit, is required. Secondly, the wiring must be properly supported and secured. Thirdly, weatherproof boxes and fittings must be used in wet locations. Fourthly, GFCI protection is required for all 120-volt receptacles. Fifthly, all metal enclosures must be properly grounded. It is important to consult the latest edition of the NEC and local codes to ensure compliance with all applicable requirements. Electrical work should only be performed by qualified and licensed electricians to ensure safety and prevent electrical hazards. Ignoring these guidelines can result in code violations, safety hazards, and potential property damage. The NEC provides specific articles related to wiring methods, including Article 300, which covers general requirements for wiring methods and materials, Article 310, which covers conductors for general wiring, Article 334, which covers an M cable, Article 340, which covers UF cable, and Articles 342 through 356, which cover various types of conduit. Additionally, Article 406 addresses receptacles, cord connectors, and attachment plugs, including requirements for GFCI protection. Article 250 covers grounding and bonding, which is essential for electrical safety. When planning a lighting circuit for a lean-to, consider the specific environmental conditions, the type of structure, and the intended use of the lighting. If the lean-to is located in an area with extreme weather conditions such as high winds or heavy snow, additional precautions may be necessary to protect the wiring. If the lean-to is used for storage or other activities where the wiring may be subject to physical damage, additional protection, such as RMC or IMC, may be required. If the lighting is intended to be used for specific tasks, such as working on equipment or projects, consider the lighting levels required and choose appropriate fixtures and lamps. Before starting any electrical work, it is always recommended to obtain the necessary permits and inspections from the local building department. This will ensure that the work is performed in accordance with the applicable codes and regulations. Moreover, using the correct tools and equipment is crucial for safe and proper electrical work. This includes wire strippers, pliers, screwdrivers, voltage testers, and conduit benders. Always use insulated tools when working with electricity and follow all safety precautions. Also, always de-energize the circuit before working on it. This can be done by turning off the circuit breaker that supplies power to the circuit. Use a voltage tester to verify that the circuit is de-energized before touching any wires or connections. When making connections, ensure that they are tight and secure. Loose connections can cause overheating, arcing, and potentially fires. Use wire connectors that are approved for the size and type of wire being used. It is important to label all circuits and panels clearly. This will help to identify the circuits in the future and prevent confusion during maintenance or troubleshooting. Use a permanent marker or label maker to create clear and legible labels. Furthermore, keep the work area clean and organized. This will help to prevent accidents and make it easier to find tools and materials. Dispose of any waste materials properly. Regularly inspect the electrical system to identify any potential problems. Look for signs of damage, such as cracked or frayed wires, loose connections, or corroded components. Address any problems promptly to prevent them from escalating into more serious issues. Consider using energy-efficient lighting fixtures and lamps. This will save energy and reduce the cost of electricity. LED lighting is a popular choice for energy-efficient lighting. When installing outdoor lighting, consider the impact on the surrounding environment. Avoid directing light upwards, as this can contribute to light pollution. Use shielded fixtures to direct the light downwards and minimize glare. Also, be aware of any underground utilities before digging. Contact the local utility companies to locate any underground cables or pipes before starting any excavation work. This will help to prevent damage to the utilities and ensure safety. If you are not comfortable performing electrical work yourself, hire a qualified and licensed electrician. Electrical work can be dangerous, and it is important to have it done by someone who is trained and experienced. Remember that the NEC is a minimum standard for electrical safety. Local codes may be more stringent than the NEC. Always consult the local building department to determine the applicable requirements. In addition to the NEC and local codes, there may be other regulations that apply to electrical work. For example, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, has regulations that address electrical safety in the workplace. The key takeaway is that wiring in a lean-to, especially one open to the elements, requires careful consideration of environmental factors and adherence to the NEC. Using outdoor rated wire or conduit is essential to ensure safety and prevent electrical hazards. Proper installation, grounding, and GFCI protection are also critical components of a safe and compliant electrical system. Consulting with a qualified electrician and obtaining the necessary permits are always recommended to ensure that the work is done correctly and safely. By following these guidelines, you can ensure that the lighting circuit in your lean-to is safe, reliable, and compliant with all applicable codes and regulations. Understanding the specific requirements for wiring in different locations is crucial for anyone involved in electrical work. The NEC provides a comprehensive set of guidelines to ensure electrical safety, but it is important to remember that these are minimum standards. Local codes may have additional requirements, and it is always best to consult with a qualified electrician to ensure that the work is done correctly and safely. Furthermore, continuous education and training are essential for staying up to date with the latest changes to the NEC and other relevant standards. The electrical industry is constantly evolving, and new technologies and techniques are being developed all the time. By staying informed and educated, electricians can provide the best possible service to their clients and ensure the safety of themselves and others. In summary, installing a lighting circuit in a lean-to requires a thorough understanding of the NEC, local codes, and best practices for electrical safety. By using outdoor rated wire or conduit, properly supporting and securing the wiring, using weatherproof boxes and fittings, providing GFCI protection, and ensuring proper grounding, you can create a safe and reliable electrical system that will provide years of trouble-free service. Always prioritize safety and consult with a qualified electrician if you have any questions or concerns.